Welcome to the 80% project where I am trying to get my bookshelves to 80% read. I need to read down my unread books, unhaul them, or haul more books that I have read that I don't own so that I can get my read books percentage up. And in episode 2, we're starting with 44%. And between episodes, I managed to read Tales of a Monster's Heart by Jennifer Delaney. This is my Goldsboro edition, so adding that to the percentage, it's still 44%, but we managed to get 291 read books to 292 read books. And in episode 2, we're doing a Full Moon Readathon edition. The Full Moon Readathon was created and hosted by Jan from Jan Agathon. And this readathon only spans for a week, I want to say, from the 13th to the 22nd, correct me if I'm wrong, but I am just going to be doing the whole readathon in this whole video, however long it takes. I'm just going to be using the prompts to pick my books. I do love the Full Moon Readathon. I did participate in Jan's Full Moon Book Club once last year. Had a blast. If you haven't checked out Jan's channel or haven't checked out the readathon, the link is down below. She hosts it every year, but also check out her Full Moon Book Club where the live show is every full moon. So like I said, this edition is me using the prompts for the Full Moon Readathon, so I get to pick the books this time and not the wheel. I'll definitely bring the wheel and the randomness back again. I just wanted to participate in this readathon this month, hence why we're doing this. We will of course fill out the spreadsheet and have a look at the end results at the end of the video. I think that worked last episode because I thought it would take longer to fill out the spreadsheet than I thought it would, but it didn't, and I thought it was fun. But if anything changes, obviously I will let you know. But let's get into book number 1 for this episode. Here are the prompts for Full Moon Readathon. So we have 4 different creatures, and each creature has 2 reading prompts and 1 just normal prompts where you can do self-care. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to combine both reading prompts together to pick 1 book for each creature. There would be 4 books we pick for the readathon, and then the 5th book is a little sweet treat at the end that we will get to when we finish all 4 books. Think of it as something to work towards to, like a normal sweet treat would be. I'm very excited for our 5th book. So from the creatures that we have here, I am going to start with Mr. Death over there with his little coffee cup, which is really cute. I'm gonna name him George. So let's start with George's prompts. So the first 2 reading prompts is a book that you could use as a weapon, so 400 plus pages won't be a problem. And the second one is it involves death. And then we have a self-care prompt that says take a nap. And you know what? I have been really sleepy lately, so probably will happen while I'm reading the first book. So let's pick a book over 400 pages and involves death. I'm gonna look through these shelves first. If I don't find anything, then I'll have a look at my spreadsheet that has the list of books that I own, and we'll pick from there. I think this one has potential. So this is Voyage of the Damned by Frances White. This is kind of like a murder mystery that is set on like a mystical boat. It's definitely over 400 pages because this boy is thick. It is 468 pages. So that's good. I'm actually not sure whether I will like this book or not. I've heard not so great things about this. Like it's too satirical, like too funny, and sometimes the jokes don't hit, so it's not up to everyone's taste. I feel like that will probably be the case, but at least I can get this off my TBR. And DNF's count for the prompts, I'm making it count. So I don't know if I should start with this. There are other books on here that are sequels that I should probably pick, but I think with the prompt involves death, like this one really involves death because it's a murder mystery. The other ones, because they're fantasy, they're going to involve death, but not as specific as this one, so I thought this would be a good fit. There's also Butcher and Blackbird by Bryn Weaver. This one is like a serial killer romance that's definitely involved in death, but is it over 400 pages? No, it's 335. Sad. I'm sure I can look at my physical TBR list and find something, but I think I'm gonna go with this one and see how we go. So yay, our first book picked for the Fullmoon Readathon for George's prompts, and we'll see how this goes. This is the Goldsboro edition, very pretty, and it is white. Damn. All right. So I'm about 126 pages into this book out of 460. So about a quarter of the way through this. And you know what? I'm kind of pleasantly surprised. I thought I would DNF this really quickly because of the humor in this book. I thought I wouldn't jive with it, but I don't mind it. Like, it's not great, but I don't mind it. In this world, we have 12 provinces, and each province is dedicated to an animal. They all say that all the provinces are equals, but there are hierarchies to the province, dragon being the strongest and the ruler of all the provinces, and fish is kind of like the lowest of them. And each province has a ruling lord of that province, and they also have an heir, which are the blessed, who are primed to take their spot and also their powers when they die. And the blessed are supposed to go on a journey every year where they kind of bond and, you know, do political movements and stuff on a boat that it's powered by the lord of the dragon province. And we follow our main character Ganymedes, who is the blessed of the fish province. Like I said, is the lowest one, so he's never taken seriously. And Ganymedes is our main character, like I said, and we follow him, and I don't really like him because he's very juvenile, and I think he mentioned he's about 22 years old in this, and he's acting like he's 14. He really doesn't want to take over the province from his father. He also has a secret, so his father has made him promise him and sworn to secrecy that he will never tell anyone. So he's holding on to the secret, and he's going on this journey for 12 days with the other blessed. And this year, as he's going on it, someone dies on this boat and this ship, and basically they have to figure out who's doing the murdering on this ship and why. So that's where I am at the moment. We have a second person die on this ship, and I feel like the build up to the murders, like getting to know the characters, who they are, maybe see the motives that they might have, we didn't really get that much build up to that. So I'm not invested in the characters, and I don't really care if they do die or not. And with Ganymedes, like I said, he's so juvenile. Like, I cannot fathom how he doesn't have an ounce of responsibility or like an ounce of brain cell to think to do what the right thing is. So I'm not a fan, but I'm not hating it so much that I want to DNF it, because I'm kind of still intrigued about who the murderer is and trying to find out why they're doing it. So the murder mystery is keeping me going because I love an isolated whodunit murder mystery, and this is what it is, because they're on this boat for 12 days and there's no way out. But I feel like this is a bit long for a whodunit, so I don't know what else we might find out or do. Maybe there's another plot other than the murder mystery, but I guess we'll see. Oh, the dogs are going at it today. Okay, but so far it's really easy to read, and that's fine. I'm calling it quits, guys. I'm on page 172, and I just don't care. I mentioned before that I am intrigued in the murder, but I am just not invested in any of the characters. And I think that the pacing in this is just too slow. Like, it's too long for this simple murder mystery whodunit. And yes, there are also some political things happening between these 12 provinces, but again, like, I'm not invested in the characters. It's moving too slow. Like, the pacing's just too slow and it's too long. And I was thinking to myself, I'm not even going to keep this on my shelves. I'm just gonna read it and unhaul it for sure. So why do I need to read this if I'm not invested and I'm losing momentum in my interest of the mystery? So yeah, DNF in this. I called it right. I called it right. This is going to be unhauled. And in terms of the spreadsheet, I do have a section called the graveyard pile where all my unhauled books go. And now we look at the second lot of prompts, which is over here. I think I am going to go for Mr. Spider over here, and I think his name is going to be Barry. Barry the Spider. His prompts are creepy book an 8 book. So that means any book that has 8 letters in the title, 8, the number 8 in the title, 8th in a series. There's 8 books in the series. It is the 8th book in the series. The series has the 8-letter title. You get where I'm going with this, right? So I need to find a creepy book with anything to do with the number 8. And then our self-care. Also, I forgot to say, I did take a nap while I was working on this book. I did take a nap. I can't remember when, but I think I took like an hour-ish nap. So we did that. And now for the self-care prompt for Barry is treat yourself. And I did. So oh wait, does that count if I already did it? I don't know. But I kind of already fulfilled this prompt. So it was over the weekend that I went to Mecca, and that is a Sephora, I guess, but it's Australian. Anyway, they had an opening in the city and it was a huge store, and I went and I bought myself some things, and yeah, that was definitely my treat yourself adventure for sure. So I've already done the self-care part for sure because I'm actually wearing the new stuff today. I got a lot of free stuff actually from this launch because when you're lining up they come around and give you all the free stuff. So I got the Drunk Elephant bronzing drops. This is why I look extra brown today. And I also got a new blush. I don't know if it comes up on camera, but I really like it. It's like a brownish red, which I wanted. And the blush that I did own, I owned since I was 18, almost 29. That blush is way past its due date and it's gone now. Okay, anyway, let's pick the book. Looking at my shelves here, I don't know if I have anything. What about Murder Road? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. No, that's not right. And I don't think this is 8 either, so we can't do that. And I don't think I have much creepy books here. Ooh, I think I might have found one. Let me get it. So I pulled up one of my S.T. Gibson books. So Evocation is 9 letters, but S.T. Gibson is 8. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And this is definitely a creepy book. It's to do with the occult and like summoning the devil as well. Yes, so what do you do when the devil comes knocking? The spellbinding story explores love, fear, and the occult. So it definitely has creepy vibes, and it definitely has 8 letters in the author's name, and it's also perfect because Jan loves S.T. Gibson. Let me take that back. She loves A Diary of Blood. I don't know if she loves her other books, and it's the same as me. The only book that I've read from S.T. Gibson is A Diary of Blood, which I love. So now I'm going to read another one of her works and see if I like it. I haven't dived into any of her other works because I haven't heard good things, so I'm scared to see what I think of this. This is the Fairy Loot edition. It's very gorgeous, and I think a lot of my unread books are subscription boxes, so it's great that I'm going through subscription box books. Oh my god, look at this art. Isn't that gorgeous? And it also has polyamory relationship as well. I want to see how that goes. It's short. I don't know. I love the Diary of Blood. I love the writing style, so we'll see what I think of this. I've been listening to the new Jonas Brothers album that just came out, Greetings to Your Hometown. And it's actually not bad at all. I'm saying it like I expected it to be bad. Not at all. I still think Happiness Begins and the album is still my favorites. Like their new music, those are still my favorite. But I do have a couple of the songs that are bops. I think I like Backwards, Heat of the Moment, Bully, and Waste No Time are my favorites from this album. But yeah, I'm having so much fun listening to this album. I really hope they come back to Australia for this album tour because I think they're touring the US right now, and I hope they come back here because that'll be great. I think the next concert I have is for One Republic, another one of my favorite bands from when I was a teenager, and they're coming in February, which I'm going. Very excited. Also, like a random thing that I wanted to chat about, I have been using Apple Calendar for quite some time. I used to use Google Calendar when I used to have the Google Pixel, like I want to say 2017, and I've been using Apple Calendar since, but I have always struggled with follow through. So I can organize and plan till the sun comes home, but following through is my issue. I love organizing 100%. I think it's just my anxiety. When I get overwhelmed, I tend to run away from all the things that I have to do. So I have been trying slowly to build little things that will help me with the follow through. So one, I have a to-do app that is literally called To Do, but in French. And this app is literally life-changing. I love it. It's so simple. You get to drag and drop any to-dos anywhere. And when you complete something, an animated dog pops up. It's cute. Anyway, I feel like this app is way better than me writing it down. Yes, I would love to write down things. I feel writing down is always key, but I need to move things around because my mind is fickle and always changing. So I need to move things around. So this app is great. And then I have been really overwhelmed with all the things that I have to do, and I'm trying to balance everything again. I'm trying not to be so overwhelmed that I ditch all my responsibilities. So I've been trying time blocking. I have tried time blocking before, but I feel like I overdo it and I again get overwhelmed. So I am trying time blocking. I didn't like how it looked like in my Apple Calendar. So yesterday I did my Google Calendar. So it has like my daily time blocking. I have like a fun calendar too, so I can put any fun things that I want to do, like, you know, play a game, or like, oh, this is when I can watch a couple of YouTube videos, or like, this is where I want to watch a movie. And then I have YouTube stuff that I want to do, and also like editing sessions that I can put in, or like anything filming I need to do. And then I also have a reading calendar where I schedule in where I can read, and also like the timeline of how long I need to read the book. Yeah, no, it's been great so far this week. I am really enjoying it, and I also like the color palette that I've chose for my Google Calendar. So yeah, I have been trying really hard to balance my full-time job and the YouTube and the reading, and also life in general. I felt like I was constantly working. I didn't have a break. I was working Monday to Friday, 8:30 to 5, and then I was also working Monday to Sunday with my YouTube things. So I got really burnt out last week, hence why there wasn't a video last week, because I was just, I needed a break. And that really hurt me because I have been posting consistently for a month now, and I just had to ride through the burnout. But now with the time blocking and everything, I have decided to really try and concentrate and do everything from Monday to Friday, and then have my actual weekends free where I can do all the fun things and actually relax. So this week is a trial run for that, and so far it's been good. And I am very fortunate that I do work from home most of the week, so I am able to be flexible in how I do things and still get shit done. So yeah, I am very excited to carry this out and see how this week comes about and how I feel at the end of the week, and also how I feel about the weekend. And right now I'm editing episode 1 of the 80% vlog. Hopefully I can get it out by tomorrow. It's just random things that I'm just telling you that does not pertain to this video, but I just wanted to know if there are any tips that you have about organizing and scheduling that don't make you feel overwhelmed. I would love to know. I always love to know any productivity and like scheduling, planning kind of things. I just love organizing. Anyway, let me know in the comments if you struggle with this as well, and any tips you can leave for me. But anyway, we're here to talk about evocation, and I am 68 pages into evocation, and I'm actually liking it. At first I wasn't a fan of our main character because he is a rich, entitled nepo baby, like with an attitude, and he thinks he's the shit, and I'm just like, I don't like that. But I am coming to see a more complicated side of him and his relationship with our other main characters. So we follow 3 characters in evocation. We have David, Reese, and Moira. Reese and David are exes, and Reese and Moira are now married. And something happened between them 6 months ago that has made Reese not want to talk to David anymore and want some space from him. But David has a problem. He thinks that he is possessed by a demon and he needs Reese's help. And Reese is just thinking David wants to get back into his life again. And Moira is not a fan of David because of what he did to Reese, or like them in general, their relationship. So she's not a fan either, but I think they're reluctantly helping him. And all three of them deal with the occult. I think David is more a person who summons the dead to help people move on and talk to their loved ones. But he's in more of like, they'll pay anything to talk to their loved ones, so I'm going to exploit them. Hate it. Reese deals with more demonic things, and Moira is more like a star sign birth chart reading type of witch, I want to say. So I really, really like the topic of occult in here for sure. I love the atmosphere that brings. It's definitely spooky, but because we're dealing with demons and demonic possession. So I'm really, really liking the atmosphere in this, and I didn't doubt that S.E. Gibson wouldn't bring the atmosphere in this book. I definitely think the writing is different from A Diary of Blood. It's not as lyrical, whereas Diary of Blood was just a vibe. It was just a vibe. There was no plot. It was all emotions and character, whereas this one is more like a book with characters and plot and other things. So it is different, but it's different in its own way, and I like how it's going so far. I am warming up to David as a character. I'm interested in Reese and Moira. Moira is my favorite because of the type of occult things that she does, because I would like to do those things. It's very interesting learning how she reads birth charts and like how she views the planets and the horoscopes and everything. I'm not versed in that. I just know basic things, like I'm a Virgo with a Sagittarius moon, I want to say, which really conflicting, hence why I love organization but can't follow through because I get overwhelmed and anxious. That's my Sagittarius coming up. Yes, I'm a Virgo sun, Sagittarius moon, Capricorn rising. But anyway, I'm really enjoying this. I actually want to see if I can get the Fairy Loot version of book 2. Don't know when that'll happen, but I'll figure it out when I finish this book. And I think I mentioned in the beginning that I think there's going to be a polyamory relationship in this. I can see where it's going. I want to see how it's going to be executed for me to be invested in the romance, so I'll report back. So I finished Evocation by S.E. Gibson, and I am going to give this 3.5 stars. I think overall it was an okay book. It was fine. I think that I really, really liked the occult studies in here and the atmosphere in here. One of my favorite things of this book. I think that my qualm with this book is definitely the characters. I think that the polyamory relationship in this was good. It's nothing like I've ever read. I don't read a lot of polyamory relationships, but the ones that I do read, I feel like are more the erotica romance side, which is very romanticized. And yes, there is communication in those relationships, but I think with this, it's a bit more complicated. Reese and Moira are married. They're adding an additional partner who's an ex. It's definitely complicated, but I like that there's still communication between them and it's complicated, and therefore it feels a little bit realistic. And I like that S.E. Gibson did that. However, I feel like because it's so short and it's such a complicated relationship, I feel like it needed more time and for us to see that development instead of being told here and there how it developed and how their feelings for each other have changed. I want to see it so I can be a little bit more invested in the characters and their relationship, because this is definitely focusing on the characters instead of the plot. The plot's very straightforward and obviously to do with the occult. And I can see why it's a series because of that plot, but me not really being invested in the characters and also not really that interested in the plot, I'm not going to continue on with the series. And I do like the writing style. It's just not the same as A Diary of Blood. That one is beautifully haunting kind of writing. This one is good, but it's very different, and that's not the S.E. Gibson that I was looking for or love, like The Diary of Blood. It has a good list of pros and cons, so hence why it's 3.5 stars, and I had a good time. I'm glad that I read this. I'm glad that I've read more of S.E. Gibson's work, and I plan on continuing with S.E. Gibson because I still want to try out her other works. I do have An Education in Malice, which is a companion novel to A Diary of Blood, so I want to see how that goes. And I know she has a new book releasing called Savage Blooms. I also want to give that a try. I just really loved A Diary of Blood, so I kind of want to chase that high. It's time to pick book 3 of this video, and we're going to look at this little monster's prompt, and we're gonna name him Francisco. So Francisco's prompt is a slow burn or pace slow burn or pace book, and then bring a book back to life, TBR, for 1+ years. I'm pretty sure most of my physical TBR books are 1+ years, so that shouldn't be too hard. And then the self-care prompt for Francisco is to use your brain, puzzle or game. And I think we will do a session of the New York Times games later on to fulfill this prompt. I think it's going to be fun. So really we have to look for a book that is slow burn or slow pace. And I am currently in the mood for a romance. And I do have some romances over here on that shelf, but I think I want to look at maybe something a little bit older. I do have The Fine Print by Lauren Asher that could be an option. This one is a contemporary romance that has to do with a billionaire, like it's a billionaire romance. I just realized what I have on my shelves over there, and I have The Love Hypothesis by Ali Hazelwood. I'm pretty sure it's a slow burn romance. I'm really regretting not having any Mariana Zapata books on my physical TBR. I only have one, which is from Look Up With Love, and I've already read it. I bought it after I read it from the library, and I've been wanting to get a Mariana Zapata book so I can, you know, pick one when I'm in the mood. But again, with my book buying habits, I'm only trying to buy the books that I'm going to read immediately. So I haven't got a copy of a Mariana Zapata book. So I am just going to quickly look at a list that lists slow burn romances, and if any of the books that I own pops up on there, I think I'm going to pick it. Oh, someone recommended a Chloe Lease book, and I've read most of Chloe Lease's books. I just haven't read the last one of the Wilmot sister series, but I don't own that, so I can't read that right now. Someone did suggest Spinning Silver by Naomi Novik, which I do have over here. You can't see it, it's just off camera, but I'm not quite in the mood for fantasy right now. I just want something to break up the fantasy I've been reading. I think the last non-fantasy book I read was from episode 1, where I read that thriller. This Reddit thread, someone recommended The Flat Chair by Beth O'Leary, and I have that book, and that's been sitting on my shelves for a long time, and I think this is the perfect time to pick up this book. All I know about this is that our main character moves into this apartment who she's sharing with a flatmate. They don't see each other because they're on opposite schedules, so they leave notes for each other in the apartment, and I guess the romance blooms from that, and I think that's really cute, and I'm excited for this for sure. Thank you, Francisco, and also this user from Reddit, Motadine. Thank you for this recommendation. So The Flat Chair is going to fulfill the slow burn or pace prompt and bring a book back to life, which has been on TBR for 1+ years. This fits. Now I just have to look at my library so I can borrow it to read. I'm about halfway through The Flat Chair, and I wanted to share my thoughts. So actually I'm more than halfway through. Golly. Okay. So we're following our main character, Tiffy, and she just broke up with her ex-boyfriend, and she's looking for a new place to live, and she found this ad for a flat share, and that flat is currently being occupied by Leon, our other main character. So Tiffy, great name by the way, my car is called Tiffy. She considers living here, but really it's a weird situation because essentially they're going to be sharing a bedroom, and how that'll work is that Leon works night shift as a nurse, and Tiffy obviously works a 9-to-5 office job. So when she's at work, Leon's going to be at home sleeping, and when he's at work, she's going to be at home sleeping. So they basically won't see each other. And Tiffy considers this because she desperately needs a place and it's cheap, and Leon needs the money. So those two are now in a lease agreement, and they both communicate through post-it notes, which is my favorite part of this book. And it's definitely a slow burn romance because all the way here, they've kind of only just met and hung out, which is really, really cute. So, as you can tell, I am really, really liking this. And as I just said, the post-it notes and like communication between the two of them is adorable and my favorite part of this whole book. I love the mixed media when it comes to romance novels. It feels really intimate just looking at their little handwriting and their post-it notes. It's really cute. And that's how they bond together as well. These two have some issues going on with their personal life, and it's just so cute to see how they overcome it by sharing with each other, leaning on each other, getting to know each other, and also discovering that I actually kind of like this person and they make me happy. And it's just so cute to see how they realize that about each other. And yeah, guys, I just love love. You know what I mean? It's just so cute to see how two people come together through their issues and discover that there is light at the end of the tunnel, and that light is another person that's perfect for them. And I'm absolutely devouring this and having such a good time. So as I mentioned, Tiffy just broke up with her ex-boyfriend. That one was a very toxic relationship, and she didn't really know until after she's broken up with him, and she's kind of remembering everything that happened in that relationship, and she discovers that he was definitely playing her, gaslighting her, controlling her, and now she's having some sort of PTSD reaction to it, and she can't really move on. And so, trigger warning for that type of toxic relationship, because it's definitely infuriating. And at first I was thinking, why is she talking so much about her ex-boyfriend? But as we get more into it, the more you realize obviously there's more to it. And with Leon, he doesn't speak very much. He's very selective in how he speaks and who he speaks to. So when we get his perspective, his dialogue and his inner thoughts are very short sentences, and I couldn't really grasp who he was as a person because they're not really full sentences. They're very just short, kind of bullet points type of sentences. Let me see if I can give you an example. Even the dialogue is really weird because it's not like normal dialogue. It's just me. You could have found each other again. Love finds a way, Mr. Pryor. Love finds a way. Mr. Pryor's unconvinced. Mr. Pryor. No offense, lad, but you weren't there. That's not how it worked. So it's very stilted and like very short. It just doesn't give me a sense of who he is as a person, but obviously the more you go, you kind of get more of a sense of who he is. And he's just a kind young man who's working his ass off and just wants love. But I'm not like fully obsessed with it just because I couldn't quite get into Leon as a character, but I do love the progression of this romance for sure. This is definitely a slow burn. Like I said, they've only kind of just met and hung out this whole time. It's been good 6 months or so. But yeah, I am really enjoying this. I am so glad I picked this up finally. I'm pretty sure I've read a book by Beth O'Leary before that was on my physical TBR, but I can't quite remember. But I'm pretty sure I gave it 4 stars. But I will definitely remember this for sure because I think I like it more than the other book that I read. I think her other book that I read was more literary, and this one is definitely more romance, which I'm enjoying more. I just finished Flat Chair by Beth O'Leary, and I think I'm gonna give this 4.5 stars. I really, really enjoyed this. I love the character progression. I love the romance. It was definitely very slow burn for sure. I looked up the other book that I read by Beth O'Leary, and that was The Switch, and I remembered what that book was about immediately when I saw the cover. So I gave that one 4.5 stars as well. And that one, like I said before, is definitely more literary for sure, while there is a romance in that. But I think this is definitely more romance focused, but also definitely follows the characters and their trauma and them working through it as well. So yeah, both books by Beth O'Leary, 4.5 stars. Definitely will be checking out more of her books for sure. Now that we finished the Flat Chair, I thought we'd do Francisco's self-care prompt, and that is to use your brain, do a puzzle or a game. I have been playing chess with my partner, but obviously it's not being filmed. So I thought we could do the Wordle for today. Okay, so here we have the app. We are going into Wordle. If you don't know, Wordle is part of the New York Times games where you have to figure out what the 5-letter word of the day is, and you get 6 chances. So I always have a starting word, and that is dream. All right, so there is an R and an E in this word. It's really hard because I do this in silence, and I'm not used to speaking through the Wordle, so bear with me. Okay, what about... Is that a word? Yeah, that is a word. Yay. Okay, okay. All right. What's a word that has something What about tower? Yep, she did it. She did it. Well, that was quick and great. I'm glad we did this Wordle together. Sometimes it does go my way and sometimes it doesn't, but today she's a genius. Now we come to pick book 4 for this episode. So this is the character in the prompt for book 4. I'm trying to figure out a name for him and I'm leaning towards Gary. So here's Gary, and these are his prompts. I gotta read a book that has an ugly cover but intriguing premise, and I have to read a book that will probably have a plot twist. And the self-care prompt for this is to check one thing off the to-do list. You know me, I always have a to-do list, and I will definitely be checking something off. And one of the things to check off the to-do list is to pick book 4 for this video. So that's done. Okay, so for now, the book. An ugly cover but intriguing premise with a plot twist. I'm thinking thriller because those normally do have plot twists because I'm not too sure about my fantasy books. And in terms of ugly cover, I don't really know any ugly covers off the top of my head. I do have one book in mind that I do have with me right now, but I'm going to look through my spreadsheet just to see if there's any other books that pop out at me. So the option that I have here is The Seven Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle by Stuart Turton. This is the one that I do have here. But I think I found a better option. So with this, yeah, the cover is not great. Is it ugly? Kind of. It could be better. The premise is definitely intriguing. It's kind of like a Groundhog Day type of book, and it's a thriller mystery, so it should have a plot twist. What I've gone for is Recursion by Blake Crouch. This is like a sci-fi thriller that I own. I don't have it here with me physically, but I can borrow it from the library. The cover? Ugly. Typical sci-fi thriller cover, don't like it. I have read another book by Blake Crouch before called Dark Matter. Really didn't like that. I think I gave it about 3 stars because I think I already knew the twist right from the beginning, so it didn't really live up to it. And the sci-fi part was interesting, it was great, but like the thriller part, no. So I wanted to give him another chance, hence why I picked up Recursion. So I'm excited to give this a try and fingers crossed that I like it. If not, I don't know if I would give Blake Crouch another chance. Let me know in the comments if you think a different book would work to give him a chance. I think he had a new book come out. So that is the 4th book for this episode, and I'm really, really pumped to fit in a sci-fi finally. I do want to read more sci-fi. You know, I don't know if I'm into sci-fi as I am into fantasy, but I'm giving it a try. So here we are. Thank you to Gary for giving me these prompts. I'm about 40% into Recursion by Blake Crouch. And so far it's okay. I'm sort of enjoying it. I'm intrigued enough to continue. It's fine. So we're following 2 different timelines and 2 different main characters. We have Helena and Barry. And Helena is in the past timeline. She's a scientist that is focusing on Alzheimer disease like dementia and trying to reactivate parts of the memory for Alzheimer patients. And she has a research that needs funding and someone comes upon her research and wants to fund it. And then we have Barry, who is a co-op. He's a co-op and he is trying to stop this woman from committing suicide because in his timeline there's such a thing called FMS, false memory syndrome, where someone is experiencing 2 different whole life memories. One is fake and one is real, and they don't know which is which, and it drives them a bit crazy and longing for either one of the lives that they lived, and they commit suicide. So he's trying to stop this lady from committing suicide off a building. And Barry seems to think that FMS is contagious, like people around the person that has FMS will contract FMS, which is really weird. So he didn't manage to stop the lady from committing suicide, so he thinks he has FMS and he's trying to figure out what happened to this lady, what drove her to commit suicide. So he's investigating that, and somehow these 2 timelines and these two characters are connected. And that's where I'm trying to figure out what the connection is. And I'm about 40% in. The plot twist of this has been revealed. I think this is the main plot twist, and it's been revealed, and that's fine. It's a bit weird because it doesn't really compute in my head how that this will work. Obviously, it is science fiction. It's fiction, so it's not really kind of real, or there's a possibility that this is. But the reasoning and the concepts that they have used to make this plot twist make sense is sound, but altogether the concepts to make this plot twist doesn't really make any sense science-wise. Unless I'm mistaken, and it can be, because obviously I'm not in the science community at the moment, you know? I do have a science degree, and I do know some things. Because Helena's experiment and her research is to do with neuroscience and the brain, it definitely fascinates me. That is my favorite thing about this book, because we're learning so much about the brain and how it works and how memory works. And neuroscience, when I did it in uni, was one of my favorite units, and I actually applied to do a master's in neuroscience. I got in, but I didn't end up doing it because postgraduate degrees are a lot of money, and I couldn't afford it at the time. But anyway, I am really fascinated about the whole memory concept thing, and I'm enjoying that. But there is an element in here that I'm not enjoying, and I don't like that element because it confuses me. I won't say what it is because it is spoilery, but this element that they've introduced, I'm not a fan. I'm very confused when it comes to this. It goes over my head, and I tend to not gravitate towards those types of books because I know it's going to mess with my head. But it's still readable and it's still understandable to a certain point, so I'm still continuing it, and I'm finding it fine. I am intrigued to see what's going to happen and how these timelines intersect. If they do intersect, I guess we'll see. I'm having an okay time. I don't know if I'll ever read another Blake Crouch book. Maybe his newer work would be better. But I think that even in Dark Matter, the plot twist I thought was predictable because I guessed it, so it didn't have any more value to me. And now with this book, the plot twist has already been revealed in 40% of the book. So I don't know what else is there for me to keep on going, because I feel like that's all this book has. It's that element of the mystery, but now it's been revealed. What else is there? So I'm still going, seeing what else is going to happen. I'm still a little bit intrigued to see if there's any more reveals. So yeah, I don't think this is the best foray into sci-fi for me, because as I said before, I really want to get more into sci-fi. I think I have other sci-fi books that I want to try in my physical TBR, especially Project Hail Mary, because I've heard that's really good. And then The Girl with All the Gifts is another one that I heard is really good, which I do have. Stuff like that. So maybe those books will be much better than sci-fi thriller. I don't know how to feel about this. And right now, I don't know how it happened literally overnight, but it probably doesn't sound like it, but it's because I gargled with salt water. It's really good for sore throat or tonsillitis, which I think I have. Again, let me not tell you how many times I've gotten tonsillitis in the last 6 months, and I know you're supposed to get your tonsils removed if you got that many. But you know what? I am still thinking about it. Don't do what I'm doing. But anyway, I don't know how it happened. I'm sick, and usually when I'm sick, I resort to television because I don't think I have the brain power to read. But I am definitely reading, and I'm reading Recursion, and I'm thinking, do I even want to continue with this? So I am all for B-grade action movie. That is like my favorite thing. Snakes on a Plane. For some reason, Pacific Rim comes to it, but I'm pretty sure that's like a blockbuster. The Godzilla movies, the recent ones, except for, is it Godzilla 1? I can't remember what the Japanese one is called. That one was really good on Netflix. All the shark movies, like I love shark movies. Anyway, this is giving B-grade action movie, which again, I love. But this one is forcing itself to be more action, to have more plot. So the way I could explain it is we have a conflict and it kind of resolves itself. And then suddenly the conflict continues and then it resolves itself, or so we thought. And then it continues. It's kind of like dragging it out to when the plot can really just be done in a short amount of time. And when I get to 50%, it's like, oh, cool. we're done. And then I look at the percentage, it's like, oh, we're only 50% in, so obviously there's more. And that just keeps happening every time. So I am beginning to not like this. There is that element that I talked about that is definitely moving the plot forward, and again, I said it wasn't my favorite, and I do want to talk about it, but it's spoilery, so I won't. But like, just let it end already. Put me out of my misery. What are we doing? I was talking to my partner and telling him like the plot points as we're going. He's like, I don't like this book. Why are you still reading this? And I said, I don't know. It's like a car crash that I can't look away from. I feel like someone else, and I'm sure other people already will enjoy this book, but I don't think this book is for me. And I'm still contemplating whether I want to DNF or not, because like I say, it's like a car crash that I can't look away from. But I kind of want to know how it ends, but at the same time, like, who cares? I'm done with this. And I'm 74% the way through. And according to the Kobo, I have an hour and a half left. I don't know, man. I really don't. I don't know if I want to continue this. It's not great. Okay, I think I'm going to take this time to DNF this. I'm going to put it down and step away from it because I need time to read other books, and I have other books that are pending that I want to read. And this is fine because I know when I finish this, I'm gonna give it 2 stars and unhaul it. So let's just put it down and unhaul it because that's also doable. It is time for the 5th and final book, our sweet treat of the video. Since it is a full moon readathon edition of the 80% project, I thought who better to ask to pick book 5 than Jan Agaton herself. So I sent her my spreadsheet listing all the books that are on the physical TBR that are unread, and I asked her to pick one for me to read. She has sent me a little clip telling me what she's picked, and I'm very scared because it could go one of 2 ways. One, she could have picked a shorty patooty book, as she would call it, or she could have picked a fantasy. She could have picked a big fantasy. So I guess we shall see which way she goes. Alright, let's see what Jan has picked for book 5.
Hi, Vish. It's me. Listen.
Cute.
First of all, thank you for inviting me onto this project. I'm so excited. Your list. It's been so hard to choose. So, what I'm going to do is be kind to your mood reader heart and give you some options.
I love her.
But could you do a spinner wheel situation and let that pick for you? Because that'd be fun, funky, fresh, right? Right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'll give you 4 options. Ready? She has range, okay? So we're going to start with a non-fantasy.
Oh.
Intermezzo.
Fuck.
It's number 1. Number 2 is The Big Bad Babel by R.F. Kuang. By R.F. Kuang. Or Babel. Whatever you say.
Damn.
And then we'll do another fantasy to be nice to you. The Keeper of Night.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. I know she likes.
Baker.
That's fine.
Favorites. And then we'll do 2 vampire books.
Oh.
Okay. First one being Silver Under Nightfall by Rinka
Love
Tycho.
that. Okay.
And the last option is Black Sunshine by Karina Halley.
I love that option.
Because again, we have range over here, okay? We got romance, we've got a contemporary lit pick thing, and then 2 fantasies. And of course, I gotta include my lovely vampires, okay?
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, hope you have fun with these. Or with one, whichever one the universe chooses for you. Love you so much. I'm so excited for this vlog. Bye.
She's so cute, but also a mean little devil at the same time. Okay, so I guess we're putting all these options on a wheel and then deciding. Jan! Intermezzo by Sally Rooney. First of all, I bought that to buddy read it with one of my colleagues at work. We both promptly gave up, so I still have that book. I should have just unhauled it, but I was like, no, I'll keep it just in case if we want to circle back to that book. No. Oh god. Let me add these inputs in a wheel and then we'll do a little spinner. What? No. Let me input all of these into the wheel and then we'll spin for the book. I like two options. That is Black Sunshine and Silver Under Nightfall is good. And I think Keeper of Night will also be a good option. I'm in a weird position here, but you know what? Here's the wheel. Okay, so we have Intermezzo by Sally Rooney, Babel by R.F. Kuang, Keeper of Night by Kylie Lee Baker, Silver Under Nightfall by Rin Chepeko, and Black Sunshine by Karina Halley. Three of these options I want: Keeper of Night, Silver Under Nightfall, and Black Sunshine. The other two, out of here. I don't want it right now. But okay, let's spin and see what we get. Yes. Yay! Okay, I'm so happy that we got Black Sunshine. Yay! That's exactly what I wanted. I don't know about you. If you've seen episode 1, do I have some sort of like a deal with the devil when it comes to spinner wheels? What is going on? But you know what? I'll take it. I don't have Black Sunshine with me currently, but it is on KU, so I'm excited to dive into this. I don't know much about it, but once I do, I will let you know. Yeah. Good pick, Jan. Also, what a fitting book to pick for the last book of this episode, a vampire book for Fullmoon Readathon Edition. I am about 50% into Black Sunshine by Karina Halley. I'm really sick right now, as you can probably hear, and I look like an absolute troll, so please don't mind me. I'm trying to back up as much as I can, but yes, I am 50% into Black Sunshine, and it's been okay so far. We follow our main character, Lenore, who is just a regular human being living her life, and then suddenly she gets kidnapped by a vampire and held hostage. And she finds out that her birth parents have been killed by her adoptive parents a long time ago because they were vampires and her adoptive parents are witches. And she comes to find out that she herself is half vampire, half witch. And a lot of shenanigans are happening because of that. And this is a dark paranormal romance. I thought it was going to be more fantasy leaning, but before I went into it, I like to read the synopsis so I know what I'm getting into because it absorbs better. The synopsis says that it's a dark romance with a paranormal twist, so it's not very fantasy leaning. And I guess that is my problem with it. I want it to be more fantasy leaning and like have a bit more plot rather than just a romance, because premise is definitely interesting. While there is a plot and suspense and it's very fast paced, which again I think is a little bit of my problem with this. It's too fast paced to the point where I am not connected to the characters a lot. There's a lot of telling of emotions and not seeing the character interactions, and the development is just moving too fast for me to buy into the relationship that Lenore has with this vampire. I'm still enjoying my time because I said it is fast paced and I'm sick and I just kind of need that. So it doesn't take much brain power to read this at all. So I am having a good time, but I don't see myself loving this and continuing on with the series. I believe it's like a interconnected standalone duology, but I think I will just be happy reading this and see what happens. You never know. I might just jump into the second book just because I have nothing else to do, but we shall see. So the aspect that I really enjoy about this book is seeing Lenore transition into a vampire, and like that transition process is really, really interesting to see. And in the beginning of the book, it's very atmospheric for sure. But then I think the author kind of lost that atmosphere aspect when we went into like an isolated setting. And when we meet more vampires, that type of atmosphere was also kind of lost. I wish we had that. But again, I'm just having a fun time reading this. And I am 50% in. It's a fast read. I didn't expect to read it this fast, but I definitely wish there was more atmosphere to this because of how it was set up. But I guess we'll see. I might be proven wrong with the whole plot thing. So yeah, we'll see. Okay, so I finished Black Sunshine and I'm gonna give this 2.5 stars. Honestly, this was very fine. I was enjoying it when I first picked it up. Like I said before, the atmosphere was done really, really well, and then it kind of disappeared. I just think that this was too fast paced for me to get invested into the characters and into the relationship as well. I thought this was going to be spicier than as advertised because I don't know why I thought it was going to be spicier, but it wasn't, and that's totally fine. I also just thought that the male main character was a little bit too whiny for my liking. I love a good dark broody sad man, but this one was just not done well in my opinion. So overall, it's going to get 2.5 stars from me, and that is the last book for this episode. Thank you to Jan so much for that pick. And also, I'm not going to continue on with the series for sure, even though the next book is the wrap up to the duology and like the plot for this. I'm not invested in the characters and the plot, so I'm not going to continue on with the series. But let's wrap up this episode. So I managed to pick up 5 books in this episode. The first one that I picked up was Voyage of the Damned by Frances White, and this one was a DNF. Second book I picked up was Evocation by S.T. Gibson, and this one I gave 3.5 stars. Next up was The Flat Share by Beth O'Leary. This one I gave 4.5 stars with. I enjoyed this so much. I'm still thinking about it. I don't think I will watch the adaptation. I watched the trailer a little bit. I wasn't happy with the casting choice, so I'm just gonna back away from it and just keep this in my memory. The fourth book that I picked up was Recursion by Blake Crouch, and this one was another DNF as well. And of course, lastly was Dan's pick, and I picked Black Sunshine by Karina Halley, and this one I gave 2.5 stars. I read 3 books and DNF'd 2. Overall, we picked 5 books from the unread shelves. So I wanted to show you the hauled portion of this episode because obviously we're going to be inputting it into the spreadsheet. And I'm also going to let you know what I'm unhauling as well, because in this episode there will be an unhaul, and that will also change the statistics in the spreadsheets. And I also want to just take a moment to say thank you so much for your love and interaction in the first episode. I've been getting so many helpful comments. Another helpful comment was I should create stats graphics so that you guys can see the stats. Also, we'll be done and we'll go through that once we input everything into the spreadsheet. I'm actually excited to see the stats myself as well. Okay, let's get into the hauled books. So for my birthday, I asked my mom to send me some books through the mail because she was sending me my birthday present. She sent me 2 books that I didn't know that was going to be in my collection. Because my books are at her house, it's a bit jumbled with her collection. So like some books are like hours. So she sent me 2 of them and I didn't know that these were going to go on my shelves. But I do want to read them. So the first one is Isles of Emberdark by Brandon Sanderson. This is his secret project book and it is gorgeous. Do I know what it's about? No. But you know what I really like? There's black pages in here, but also like it starts white. Ooh, there's colors. Yeah, I'm very excited to put this on my shelves and also with my Brandon Sanderson collection. I will be going back to Perth in October. I will be bringing back more books for sure, so I'm very excited for that. Anyway, the second book that she sent is Assistant to the Villain by Hannah Nicole Mahler. Yeah, I wasn't planning on reading this book, but now that we have it here, I will give it a try one day. It's a very pretty Bookish Box edition. My mom used to be subscribed to Bookish Box. I have no idea what this is about, but I'm guessing our main character is assistant to the villain, and it's going to be a bit humorous and satirical, which is something that I'm not a fan of, but again, I'll give it a try. You never know. This is like the slipcase of it. It's really pretty. Okay, and lastly, I have a pre-order from Goldsboro Books, and this is a sequel to a book that I've already read from Goldsboro, and I just wanted, matching editions and also read the sequel. So let's unbox this. I made a grave mistake. I don't have scissors. Of course, trademark Goldsboro. We have 1 meter worth of bubble wrap. Okay, so the book in question is The Dragon Wakes with Thunder by KX Song. I really like the stencil edges on these. I'm number 537 out of 750 copies. Ooh, look at that foiling. This is the sequel to the first book, The Night Ends with Fire. I read this last year and I think I gave it like 3.5 stars. I enjoyed it and I was curious to see if I would like the sequel. So here we are. I pre-ordered the sequel. And what is The Night Ends with Fire about? Can't tell ya. Oh, sorry. I just remember our main character and the magic system of this reminds me a lot of Rin and the Poppy War in general as well. But this character was definitely much more tolerable than Rin from the Poppy War, and I liked the writing better in here. We have a little bit of a love triangle in here as well. Very excited to see what the sequel will bring. I probably have to read a spoiler summary for the first book before I jump into this, so it will jog my memory. Okay, so 3 books were hauled, and now let's talk about unhauling. So I will be unhauling Voyage of the Damned by Frances White, since I DNF this. We'll also be unhauling Evocation by S.T. Gibson because I don't see myself rereading this. I am also going to unhaul Recursion by Blake Crouch because, again, I DNF that one. And I will also be unhauling Black Sunshine because I only gave that 2.5 stars. I don't think I'm going to reread it or remember it, so that one's going as well. And then one extra one that I found on my shelves that I want to get rid of, and that is The Foxglove King by Hannah Whitten. I DNF the series when I started book 2, so I didn't want to keep book 1 with me because I highly doubt I'm going to reread this. In total, we're going to unhaul 5 books, so imagine Recursion and Black Sunshine here. Okay, so now let's do all that in the spreadsheet and then see what the end percentage will be. Okay, let's start with the hauled portion of the spreadsheet. So I'm going to put in Isles of the Emberdark, published 2025, and then we have Assistant to the Villain. This one was published 2023. And then lastly we have The Dragon Wakes with Thunder. This one was published 2025. Okay, let's add these to our bookshelf tab. Perfect. Okay, now let's add them to the TBR section and then sort them via author. That's great. Okay, let me mark everything that I've read and then we will do the unhaul portion of this. So, first book I read was Voyage of the Damned. Let's put that as read. And then the next one was Evocation. Let's mark that as red. Next up was Flatshare. Let's mark that as red. And then we have Recursion. Yes, I didn't read this, but we'll move it to the graveyard section anyway, so let's just do that. I know they're DNFs, but I'm just trying to go down the list first. Let's mark them as red and then we'll move them to the graveyard section. It'll make sense. Trust me. Alright, Black Sunshine is next, and that is also marked as red. Okay, now I have this tab called the Land of the Dead. So this is where the books that I want to unhaul sit. Some of these books I don't have with me, they're at my mom's place. So if I have a list of things that I want to unhaul, let's move the unhauled books into the Land of the Dead. So first up that I want to unhaul is Voyage of the Damned. Let's take this with us. And then we can delete this row here. Okay, and then next we have Evocation that I am unhauling. Let's get rid of that, put it here, and then get rid of this line. Next one I want to unhaul is Recursion. So let's get rid of this, put it in Land of the Dead, and then delete this line. Then we have Black Sunshine by Karina Halley. Add that here, and then delete this line. And lastly, we have Foxglove King. So let's take this, put it in Land of the Dead, and delete this row. So we have added our hauled books to the spreadsheet. We have marked off everything that I've read, and we've put all the unhauled books into the Land of the Dead. And now for the scary part, to see what the end percentage is. I'm scared. I know you're probably not scared, you're probably excited. Okay, so we started with 44% read, and that is 292 books on the read shelf. So now let's look at our end percentage now that we've input everything. That does not make sense. What? Wait a minute. No, that makes sense. Okay. This is crazy. We're basically back to where we started. Let me move. Okay, this is crazy. We're back to where we started. Here is the graphic. So we started with 44% with 292 books, and we're ending with 44% and 292 books. So in this episode, I read 5 books. 3 books were hauled, and then 5 books were unhauled. It makes sense because we've added 5 books to the red pile and then 5 into unhaul, so it's a net 0 change at this point. But you know what? Whatever. Progress is progress. I'm curating my red shelf. Hi, Editing Mish here, and I wanted to clarify something about the percentages. So because there's a huge volume of books within each section, like we have 292 books in the read section and then over 300 in the unread section, the percentages don't change very much unless you put it into like 2 or 3 decimal places. So for example, if it was like 44.27, then you can see the changes of each section. So I think from now on, I will add that decimal change so that we can easily see the changes as we're progressing. It's definitely frustrating not seeing any change, but we move. We still are progressing. But yes, from now on, I will change the percentages to like 2 decimal places instead of rounding up to a whole number so that we can see the changes a little bit. I also have long-term stats here that I thought would be fun to keep track of. So the total books we've read for this project is 12, and total books that we've unhauled for this project is 5, and we've only found 1 5-star read so far. And then at the bottom here, we see my goal progress bar to 80%, and we're 55% of the way through the goal because obviously we started with 43%. So yeah, I'm really chuffed, even though yes, we didn't make progress, but seeing that progress bar of like 55%, we're over halfway through the goal to 80 is still pretty good, I think. So that brings us an end to episode 2 of the 80% project Full Moon Readathon Edition. Thank you so much to Jan who picked the last book and also for creating the Full Moon Readathon. I had such a blast. Let me know if you've participated in the readathon down in the comments. And this episode was a treat. I think that the wheel is definitely better than me picking the books because it's more spontaneous, but I still had fun picking the books through prompts. And then we also have episode 3 coming out. That will be Magical Readathon Edition, where I will also be picking the books myself. But after that, don't worry, the wheel will come back. Either way, very excited to start episode 3. I will be reading more books in that vlog, so it's going to be a big vlog than this one. I hope you enjoyed episode 2. If you've made it to the end of the video, let me know anything else you want to see in this project. If you don't have anything to say, let's leave a bed emoji. Is there an emoji for that? Let's leave a bed emoji for the flat share, which is my favorite book of the episode. Like this video if you liked it, subscribe if you want to. Thank you guys so much for watching. All the links to my socials and my book club is linked down below as well. I will see you in the next episode. Bye!